TOUS is a dual company. We start in Spain and then we expand to Portugal, Poland, in Europe, and also Mexico is one of our biggest markets in South America, Colombia. Technology in the past was very focused on automation, so how we can do things faster and cheaper. And today it's a differentiation for your offer. And this is when the IT role, the CIO role changes, and then you have to be much more connected to the business, not only for the ongoing operation, for the daily basis operation, but how we can improve, how we can generate new ideas, even new businesses. This is a job that requires passion. So if you don't like it, if you don't love it, change job.
This is CIONET TV. My name is Hendrik Deckers. I'm here today with José Antonio López, also known as Gal, who's the Group CIO of TOUS. A very warm welcome, Gal.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation and welcome to TOUS.
Gal, you have a bachelor degree in information technology from the University of Barcelona, where you live as well.
Yeah.
You started your career in technology at various telco companies, and you joined TOUS as a CIO in 2023. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you really, and how did you arrive in this position here at TOUS?
Who I am? Well, I'm a technology enthusiast. As you mentioned before, I get a degree in technology some years ago, from now. And you know, this long experience shows you that technology is really interesting when you apply it into business. And as you mentioned before, all my past experiences around telco environment, telecom, and also big infrastructure. And I spent there many years learning a lot about these businesses. And now recently, 2 years ago, I joined TOUS to upgrade in TOUS with how the technology can improve our design, operations, and customer satisfaction properly.
Now, TOUS is a very, very different company than a telco company. So tell us a little bit about the company. What is the company all about? And what is it that it does really, really well?
So TOUS is a dual company. So our product is jewelry. We are a very interesting company because we have the whole process of the jewelry. So we design ourselves the jewelry, we build ourselves the jewelry, we have a factory. And we also, the logistics part of it is handled by ourselves. Of course, retail, e-commerce, and brick and mortar retail shops are handled by ourselves. So it's a very interesting business. Usually customers see us at the stores, of course, but the process is quite long. And then there are a bunch of technology in every of those steps I mentioned you before.
Okay. And can you picture a little bit how big the company is and what markets that you're in?
We start in Spain, as you can imagine, as a Spanish company, and then we expand to Portugal, Poland, in Europe, and also Mexico is one of our biggest markets in South America, Colombia, and we've also franchises around the world in Arabia, Saudi Arabia, in Israel, so many other countries, usually through franchises partners.
Okay. Gal, as the CIO of a global company, international company, you experience really at first hand how the role of IT leadership is evolving and how it has changed. And some people would even say that we are at the end of IT leadership as such. So what's your perspective on this?
I'm not very sure if at the end of the IT leaders.
Well, let's hope not, right?
Yeah, I hope not. But for sure, it's an evolution. So technology in the past was very focused on automation, so how we can do things faster and cheaper. And today, it's a differentiation for your offer. And this is when the IT role, the CIO role changes, and then you have to be much more connected to the business, not only for the ongoing operation, for the daily basis operation, so how we can improve, how we can generate new ideas, even new businesses, models using technology.
Yeah, so an IT leader has to really be these days also a business leader. So what's the impact of that? What does that really mean? How do you have to behave differently than CIOs from 20 years ago?
The first of all is you have to understand the business in detail. So you have to talk with all the processes managers. You have to understand what worries those departments, those processes. How can you help them without understanding what they really mean when they talk to you. Have you understand their words, their vocabulary, their language? It's different from the IT language. It's the first change that you have to handle and you deal with. And also the team, the IT team also have to evolve from more technical profiles to more business profiles. And again, so it's a mix between technology and business. And
so when you arrived, you had to learn a lot. You had to learn how to design, how to create, how to produce, how to do the logistics, how to do the sales, all the different channels. There was quite a learning curve, I can imagine, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I spent days on those different processes. In fact, our onboarding is really good here. Our HR department does a great job. So we spend days in one of each. We spend a couple of days in the factory, a couple of days in the design, and we ourselves, all of us, spend days selling at the stores, understanding which are difficulties for selling, collections, of course, metals, factoring procedures, after-sales support, customer.
Branding is a big thing as well.
Absolutely. Logistics, which is a very interesting process. So I have to understand a little bit. You're not an expert, but at least you have to understand how it works, really works.
So what are the key skills and the mindset that a technology leader of today really needs to be able to do that?
That's a good question. So my opinion is, first of all, honesty. So we are here to help. So unless you are a technology company, which is not our case, technology here is a driver. So it's something that can help, but not substitute the role of every business leader. So that's important to have in mind, because sometimes technology trends to bring technology by technology itself. And here it's something that you have to use it, not just to be brave, cool, and have a good technology in the company. So honesty is important. Empathy with business teams, working groups. So you have to understand how to work in groups, and you have to understand how to manage different profiles, different behaviors. It's not the same manufacturing that sales, so the way they work are not the same, the profiles are not the same, and you have to match that way of behavior by yourself. So that's for me, it's just the key role, the key knowledge I have to handle.
Yeah. Now, you've been here in this role as the CIO for several years now. How do you see that role evolve, and here and maybe in general as well? When we talked about the role of the CIO from being a technology controller to being a business enabler more and more, how do you see that further develop? How do you see if you have your crystal ball and you look at the role of the CIO in 5 years, what do you see?
If I look backwards, the main change is where the CIO is located in the organizations. So it usually comes from finance environment, because it looks in the past at a cost center. And then when you are in the cost center arena, you are cost oriented and very cost focused. And okay, that's important to the control and to automate processes. And that's where it came from, I say, 15 years ago, even 20 years ago. And at the time that the companies understand that the technology is much more than control, much more than efficiency, and a value generator, is where this CIO arises in the organizations. There are, as we are here in TOUS, in those executive meetings where the decisions are taken in the company. That's important because it's there when you can really allow your team to see the technology as a really value generator. That's what happened with the CIOs. You have to evolve yourself. So what happened in 5 years? I understand that sooner or later, technology is inevitable. So you have to use technology, you like it or not. So there are still some markets that are a low degree of use technology, a part of the control and automations. But now today, how you manage social network, how you manage customer relationship, how you manage third party and providers, and all of that requires a lot of technology. And if you use it properly, is when you really generate that value. So CIOs, in my opinion, have to understand this, and we need to avoid IT terminology, all of these acronyms that we use in our segment. You have to talk about business terminology, and you have to understand very clearly where you can help and where you cannot help. So that's where I foresee our profile in the future.
Okay, super. Not only do IT leaders have to become more business savvy to be successful, but also business leaders have to become more IT savvy. So can you talk a little bit about that? How do you help your colleagues, the CEOs, the board, the CFOs, and so on, to be more IT savvy?
That's a great question. So for me, that's one of my, I may say it's not that takes that longer in my daily basis, but I spend a lot of time explaining how technology works. We have a lot of meeting rooms, presentations, speakers. We pay the speakers that they can share new technology. For example, AI, which we have to talk AI almost every day. So we have not formalized, but continuous training program with the managers of the company. So every board, every executive meeting, we introduce a little piece of training, how technology works, how it's working in our business currently. So that's very important. So leaders has to understand technology.
Yeah. So typically, the company has a business strategy, knows where to go, what new markets, products, branding, all this good stuff. So how do you make sure that you align very well the business strategy or the IT strategy to the business strategy? So how do you translate the business strategy to the IT strategy? Because the business goes into new markets and new products and new branding and new logistics and so on and so on. How do you align that nowadays?
So first of all, being part of the business strategy definition. So I'm involved in the executive committee. So I'm part of when we raise a new business strategy approach. I teach in all this process of the definition. So in first hand, we have the information, which are the goals, which are the market, which are the products we want to send to the market, and then from ourselves we understand. Okay, how can we help? That the strategy, how we get those goals from the technology perspective. So we match our IT strategy with the business strategy. So first of all came the business, and then we bring ours and we match together, and we link every step we make in our IT strategy to business strategy goals. That for me is key. And we share all of this with the board.
Okay. Now, it used to be that IT was really a controlling organization, right? And they were on top and they were controlling everything that had to do with digital and IT. Not so much in most organizations anymore today. IT has become more and more an enabler and then has to empower business users. So how do you look at that? How do you see in here at TOUS the IT shifting from a controlling of the technology to enabling and supporting business functions?
Well, as more or less as we discussed earlier, so we are very close to business. We try to understand. We mix with themselves on the daily operations, and we even ourselves bring proposals to them, say, why don't you approach this problem from this perspective, and we can help you this. That's one approach. The other one is we make different work meetings with them and trying to share with them which are the market trends. So we have what we call tech radar. So it's we pick 3 or 4 big topics that are linked, of course, with a strategy plan, and say, okay, the market for this specific topic is like this, our competency is like that, and other sectors, other businesses similar to us are approaching this way, and we share all of this information with our executive board. Every quarter, we spend some time on that.
So let's talk a little bit about the digital transformation that the TOUS as a company has gone through. And let's maybe start with 5 years ago. I mean, we're looking back now at 5 years since COVID started. So what was the first impact of that? How has that changed the company? And then let's see how we're transforming nowadays.
Well, the impact in a business like ours, which is a physical business, as you can imagine, is high. So we had to slow down factories. We had to handle with logistics. We had to handle with the stores, which was, as you can imagine, closed. And then we moved to the e-commerce. We speed up the e-commerce relationship with our customers. That's when we boost the e-commerce channel. We have it previously, but from that period and now, the e-commerce has increased really fast. And then also the headquarters, offices, this is where things changes more because you have to work remotely. And we came from a operational, which is really present. So we in the past were physically at the office. So with all the people working at home, that was really challenging for most companies.
So the most acceleration was in e-commerce and in working from home and smart working and so on and so on. Okay. So let's talk about what's happening today in transformation. What are the major transformation projects that you're working on today?
But we have a specific transformation department for that. We have an innovation and transformation team, very specialized on that. And every year they pick different 2 or 3 big topics. The main one today is how we can evolve our e-commerce channel into a more intuitive user experience and most innovative approach than we have. Our current technology, it's standard, so you can check it so quite well. But we want to jump into a next step when you can interact with our viewers much more than in the past. So we have 3D images, we have VRs or augmented reality, so these kind of things. This is one of the biggest steps we are doing. The next one is we want to bring a better offering for you. So we are personalizing specifically for you, if you allow us, of course. So we can offer which fits better for your profile, what you are looking. If you are looking for a wedding or a present or whatever, so you don't have to go all of our catalog. We do it for you. We are introducing also AI technology for chatting, for image recognition. So there are a long list of innovation related to e-commerce. And also the stores, we also are applying similar technology to the stores. That's one of the biggest steps. The other one is design. So design, product design is a great team there. So all of these are artists, designers, very interesting people to work with. And there is where they can also use design technology, 3D dimension, image generation. That's a long list of technology that they are now looking at how we can use it and generate efficiency and generate new designs. Probably in the previous approach, nobody probably has looked at it.
So a lot of transformation going on in the business, and then pure on the digital side, on the technology side. I mean, let's maybe talk a little bit about your cloud journey that you're going through. Where you come from a pure on-prem situation, I can imagine. Where are you in your cloud journey?
Just in the middle.
Okay.
So the last 3 years investment in technology are purely cloud. I may say SAS, so it's more service than cloud itself. So we just buy the solution, and we are not so worried what it's placed in the infrastructure. So it's a service orientation. And we have still some on-premise technology. We are this year and next year, we will jump into the cloud. That technology that is interesting to move to the cloud. Cloud is I may say it's an enable, but it's expensive and probably more expensive than the on-premise. And you have to be very, very careful when you put your technology in the cloud. When you need flexibility, when you need scalability, is the right place. When you have, I may say, stable behavior of the technology, probably it's better to have it on-premise. So we have a hybrid combination. On-prem, it's not on our data center, so we outsource that. But it's on a dedicated equipment and not share technology that clouds usually offers.
Yeah, and what are the major platforms that you're using? I don't know, SAP, Salesforce, what are the
Our 2 big ones are SAP and Salesforce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gel, in IT, we see a very important trend to more agility and to more continuous delivery of new things. And so we come from an era where we had multiple year implementations of ERP packages and CRMs and so on and so on. And now we're in rapid innovation and in a very dynamic world that we live in. So where are you in that roadmap there on becoming really an agile company and an agile IT provider?
Yeah, that's a shift in the technology trends. We used in the past measure the projects in terms of years. Now we are in the process of measuring them in terms of months. And some projects now are weeks. And I'm sure that in a couple of years we may say even days. So there are. It depends on the technology we use. All our new framework of technology allow us to go much faster because there are basically services. So services can be changed and updated much faster than, let's say, more classical technology. When you require infrastructure, operating systems, applications, integrations, all of that. It's a long queue of technology you have to manage. When you move to the service approach, all of that is transparent for you, and you just jump directly to the functionality, which is much faster. But it's important to have a clear idea of when you want to become the future, because it's when you decide which are your partners, which are the technology you want to work with, is where you're really betting your next future agility and ability to move faster. So it's not easy when you decide to go to a platform, then realize that you have made a mistake and move to a different one. It's in there where you really need years. Or if you have guessed, I don't know, you went to one of the cloud providers and you use their cloud providers tools and you are not happy with them, and then move to another one. It's in there where you have really a problem in terms of time.
So SaaS applications are really, really important. Give flexibility, agility to companies. The cloud in general does that. And also a very important trend is that data has become very, very important.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about how data in the organization here allows so fast and iterative decision making. So where are you on your data roadmap, let's say?
Well, we have advanced a lot. Our last 2 years, we have a great investment in data. Our board and our CIO is a very data keen supporter. We have invested a lot in data. The first year, we were basically feeding our data lake with all the information that we have in all of our processes. That was the first year, 2023, basically. 2024, we started to use that information and generating all the imaginable KPIs, as you can imagine, in our company. So we have a clean, stable, equivalent data from all around the company. And last year, we start to use all that information, not only for the operational decision, but also for predictions, for example, is where we are today. So now we can, when you have the data, a lot of data, and with a lot of history included there, we can start to use that for example, what will be the behavior of this kind of collection, or what will happen if we change this kind of operation in logistics. And it's where really the data generates value for the company. So we have, in our business strategy and our IT strategy, we have a specific topic, which is data-driven decision. So all of the departments uses the same technology, the same platform. Everybody looks for the same information. They are measured the same way. So that was a big jump into data.
How complex is the business as such? Because you do all these different functions. So there's a huge source, different sources of data. So what are the major challenges for you to really structure your data and make the data available for the users?
In my opinion, there are two big challenges there. One is technical. Of course, you have to export information. Depending on the technology you have, it's easier or more complex. We are really lucky because our technology is quite standard. So applications like SAP or Salesforce are quite easy to export information. So you have to decide which is the frequency. We are not an online business that we need every second the data created. So with 1 day, it's enough for us in most of the processes. So that's the technology side challenge. But also what is more important is the organization. So we decided 2 years ago to decentralize data management. So we have what we call data owners in every department. So every department has their own specialists. They are technicians, so they know how the data works, which is the structure of the data. They can handle by themselves how they generate reports of data, and we help them to improve. Now we are working in combinations of different departments. So if we join production with stocks, then you can look there, for example, for patterns or for potential benefits if you change some part of the process. This second part is for me, is a really challenge. Is how you define your data organization management. So if it's centralized, it's decentralized, so it's in a hybrid. So this is, for us, took a couple of months of discussion, or where do we put the knowledge in data management?
Gal, you shared with me that you have a degree in AI as well. So tell us a little bit, where are you, how, do you believe that AI will play a big role here? And in our pre-briefing, you told me that you're a little bit critical on AI, even if you studied it yourself. So what's your thinking today on AI?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I specialize in AI at those times. The technology that was there was not the one that we are using today, but the concepts and the way the mathematical model works are the same. So all this AI technology relies on mathematical models, such as that where it was underneath. And you know, I mean, AI has two different approaches. The one till 3 years ago, till ChatGPT arises, which is how you can use AI to train models, which is very interesting, all that technology in training models for a specific applications, image recognition, language recognition, a lot of applications there. And then we have these general...
The LLMs.
LLMs, right. And these LLMs that relies on this architecture called Transformer, which is very interesting to understand how it works. And it's from 2017. So the design of the Transformer technology, the concept of that technology came from the 2026. It's 7 years from now. So it's really new. What happens there is that the AI that everybody talks today is a general purpose AI, and not that it's, let's say, more specific. So in my opinion, the general AI will be a game changer for sure. I don't know when, probably 5-10 years. I don't know. There are one of these gurus says in before 2030, others says 2050, who knows? But it's sooner, and probably I will see it before I die. I will see it happen. But today, when you apply that technology and you see, well, how can I use that technology in my business? I may say 10-50% can be generated, business cases can be generated with general AI, and all the rest is, let's say, classical AI, which is not so old, but is classical AI. So business cases and revenue generation with AI today are still a challenge. Why you mentioned that I am critic is because I'm sure there's a hype around AI. So there are a lot of investment, there are a lot of money around all of this technology. There are a lot of players that want to become the player in this market. We lived that before. We have a lot of previous experiences with this fight in the market. At the end, few of them will really become a game player. So we have to wait till let's see what happens with all of this continuous approach. Every day we get new news. So here, something is, if you're a particular and you want to check and test and play with technology, but when you move to the business, you have to be much more careful. This is not cheap. This is not absolutely cheap. So train models takes time, takes a lot of money. You check the models, how models works takes time, takes money. You have to be very careful where you place your time and your money. And my second consideration here is you have to understand and go back to our first conversation. So where are, in which processes you can really use AIs? For me, the approach is, this is my business model. Let's look where I can use the AI. And instead of, I have the AI, let's see where I can place the AI. And I see in most cases this second approach. For me, that's the wrong approach. I prefer to say, okay, let's look for we can improve our business, and there are a long list of processes. And
where do you see the first use that in here in the company? Is it customer experience? Is it chatbots? Where do you see the most profitable investments that you can do today?
Yeah, we have an AI strategy plan we defined in beginning last year, and we have different processes we are using. The most spread one is Copilot. We use Copilot from Microsoft. We have Microsoft tool here, and we have different users, more than 1 year using Copilot. And now we are starting really generating value with that technology. That's, let's say, for personal and personal efficiency, productivity, right? Then in the business processes, we have in different places of our business process. And in product definition, they use AI for image generation, for 3D generation, for design, for example. And also when we move to the sales and channel distribution, e-commerce uses AI for languages translation. So all the descriptions and the components are translated into different languages using AI. We are also using AI in customer care call centers, so they transcribe the conversation also for quality control, and also they can understand which are the feelings behind the language of the customer. So there are different places we are using AI. Most of them are today for speed up our processes or post-generating efficiency, for sure. And then we also have some future applications of AI that this 2025 is of a quite long list of MVPs around AI application.
Okay. And how do you see the application of AI in the IT department itself? Do you see that it will completely change the way that the IT is organized?
So in my opinion, this is where IT people will notice the difference. So for example, coding. That's I mean, the last project we are building most of them are code generated using AI. So our code is in a repository. We can reuse code, and our providers, for example, our web page most of it is code using AI tools. So part of the code is generated using AI. This is a big topic for IT, really big topic in my opinion. And it's a big step there to improve. The second one is our we call customer care, our end users, our call centers. We have our own call center to attend our end users. We use AI there to transcriptions, to understanding properly what they are looking for. We usually have a text written interaction with them. And we are now deploying chatbots for the basic operation there. That's another big topic there. And the third one is for all of our internal management of project management. So we're trying to plan and improve how all of our working team can be improved. So it's a time management and use AI. That's a standard tools for, okay, you have here a bottleneck. Probably you have to look at these specific profiles that you are not foreseeing that are overwhelmed. And we are working on that also in our project plan. Basically, we fit all that algorithm with our project plan list. It's our task application, resources application. So that's an interesting environment there.
Yeah, I mean, basically the concept of AI is that knowledge used to be scarce, right? And used to be with specific experts, with lawyers or with branding experts or with IT experts or with security. And now knowledge has become a commodity, right? So, and that's the major impact that AI is going to have on our business and on IT itself, no?
Absolutely. And I linked your point with the data we mentioned before. So if you have good data, it can be operational data or even documents data that came from different departments. If you put it on the AI tools, it's where you really are really powerful. So you spread that knowledge around the organization, as you mentioned before, and also can generate new knowledge. This is what really, it's what I see the really interesting application of AI. For example, data, now we are start working with how we can use that data for forecast. So forecasting in a business like us, it's critical. So because every forecast plan links with design, manufacturing, logistics, provisioning. And if you can guess better which will be the behavior of your customer, you can improve a lot of that, all of that change I mentioned before. So that's a very interesting AI application. For example, we are forecasting.
Do you see it as I mean, we have to become more data-driven, yeah? We have to become more AI-driven. We will become more AI-driven. Do you see it as a challenge for the end users to learn them so that they adopt data and AI quicker? I mean, there's a built-in resistance to change in people, and they want to continue to work as they did. So how do you overcome that? How do you learn your end users that they have to work more with data and AI?
The answer is training. So it's really important to understand that this technology, it's not here to take your job. It's here to help to do your job better. That's very important because usually all these technology changes generate fear. And the first reaction is a fight against that change. So the first thing you have to attack is this. So this is not here. We are not using or forecasting AI technology to replace jobs in our company. We want to do that those jobs can generate better business outcomes. And this required time, and presentation, explanation, introductions, training, a lot of training. I mentioned before Copilot. We have spent hours and hours of training in Copilot. So this is here to make your job easier. And that took time at the very beginning for some profiles to make them understand, think about it as your assistant. So it's not your future boss, it's your assistant. And try it and use it as the assistant. And if you can jump into that situation, then from there, it's a speed up adoption of AI.
Okay. So Carl, we have moved from long-term projects, long implementation cycles to very iterative, rapid innovation, rapid value creation, data-driven and so on. So that also means that technology partners that we work with, we have built very different relationships with them nowadays. Tell me a little bit about how you have done that over here at TOUS.
Let's see. That's an interesting question, because usually partners are seen in the past as, let's try to find the cheaper ones, okay, and focus on cost. Our approach is different, so we want to have fewer partners, bigger partners with a long-term relationship. And that means, of course, there are costs on behalf, for sure, but for us, partner is someone who helps us to use technology. You cannot do by yourself, be always updated in the technology market, because it changes too fast. And we rely on a small group of partners, this market awareness. So we have specific partners for project development. We have one big partner for maintenance and for operations, and one big partner for infrastructure. So only with 3 partners mainly, we can handle almost 90% of our technology. For me, it's key, because if you spread the partner framework, then it's all the management is complex, and the interaction between them is too complex, and you spend too much time on that.
And how's your sourcing strategies, and what's the ratio between in-house people and people out from partners?
Yeah, we have 100% outsourced. So the way we approach this is, we are a jewel company. We are not a technology company. So technology here is an enabler, it's a driver. So the profiles we have in IT department are basically business-oriented profile. 80% of our team is talking about more the business than technology. We have a small group, for sure, who are experts in technology, but it's really small. And the operation team is also quite small. Operation is the daily basis management of the technology. And all these specific profiles, very technical-oriented profiles, 100% outsourced.
Yeah. So how would you describe your IT operating model? Because depending on context, companies can have completely different IT operating models. How would you describe yours?
Yeah. We are, our organization is divided in 4 big groups, basically. The first group is what we call project management, is where are those business-oriented profiles. They are really close and linked, I may say, with every department here, and they are who identifies and translate these requirements from every department into specific projects. We have another group who is what we call architecture, so they are really the technicians. When someone from the project says, here we have a requirement, let's do what's the best ways to resolve this. We use our current technology, we look for a new current technology, we have to, interact with a middleware and connect with a third party, this kind of thing. So there's architecture. Then we have operations teams. Operations are who handle and ensures that technology is working properly, and they are very close to the projects. And every project, there's someone from operations from the very beginning. So finally the project delivers whatever is needed. Operations are there just to receive it and operate properly. And then we have cybersecurity that goes around all of them. So they control that there are no leaks on information, or there are not exposure to third parties attacks. This is basically our main groups in our organization. And there are CDO, there are data operational team, specifically for data management.
Okay, super. And you, It's an international company, Mexico, Poland, you're all over the place. How distributed is it? Do you have teams in different countries, or and how do you manage different cultures and different languages and so on?
Yeah, that was a change introduced last year. We came from a highly centralized organization, IT, years ago. 2023, we identified an opportunity because we are quite spread around the world. There are timetables, hours, there are culture, there are languages.
Yeah.
Even in South America, it's not the same Spanish that in Spain. And we see an opportunity there, then we bring part of our team closer to the business. So we have a small teams. Now we have 4 places: South America, North America, Spain and Portugal, and the rest of Europe and Middle East. They have a specific teams, mainly for operations. So they are very close to daily basis. So what do they need to use properly the technology? Projects are centralized, cyber is centralized, and data is centralized.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your teams. I mean, you have these different teams. How difficult or easy is it for you to attract the right talent and to keep them and to make them successful? And what's your secret sauce in doing so?
Make them feel part of the business. So I think the key for IT profiles, in my opinion, is you are part of a business. So you are one change inside of the business, and your job, your daily operations, your cyber, your data approach helps the business, and you have to understand where it generates value. For me, that's critical. It's in there when you generate illusion, you generate expectations, and you see the outcomes of your job, of your days. When you are in a store and you see that everything works, and all the sales representations can do the job better, or they can express themselves and say, well, why don't you do this? And someone's there listening you. It really feels part of the technology. So we are mixed, even here in our offices. We are mixed with our teams. We have open spaces, we dinner together, we take coffee together. So we are not a part of the organization. For me, that's key. So when you generate that relationship, then you are part of an emotional business like ours. So we offer illusion, we offer emotions, and that feeling of our business has to reach every individual in our organization.
We're here like an hour north of Barcelona. That's the location is always important for a business. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage to find IT talent and to recruit them and to have them work over here?
So, being away from the big cities generates, let's say, you need to take your time to decide where you place your teams. We have a central office in Barcelona. So our team, I must say, 30% of the team is here. All the rest goes to the Barcelona offices. So we have a big office there. Part of my team, I may say, 70% of my team is in there, because most of them came from Barcelona. But we mix, so we once or twice a week we meet here, or we move to Barcelona, we be there, and to maintain this relationship with both. But for sure, finding talent, and if you have to be present in an office, it's a challenge, of course.
So you have teams in Mexico, you have teams in Barcelona, over here in Poland, I mean, or in North America, a little bit everywhere, different cultures. So how do you manage that? I mean, that comes with challenges, and how would you describe your own personal leadership style and management style to make sure that you make success with your teams?
We spend a lot of time connecting with them. So we have a specific meetings for example, synchronizing countries. Every month, all the country managers meet with us and share their experiences there. They also share opinions. They also make proposals how we improve. And between all of us, we spend almost 1 hour every month. That's for all countries. Then country by country, we have every 2 weeks a specific meeting for that specific country. And then we have once a year, we meet all the team, and we share a couple of days talking and working all together. But that's a price you have to pay for a distribution organization. You have to be very careful that everybody is linked and it's connected with our strategy. Nobody loses because of distance. So that takes time, of course. That's an investment.
Yeah, but let's talk a little bit more about yourself and about your personal style of leadership. And maybe a good way to ask is, how do you think you are perceived as a leader? What do you think people will say about you when having a coffee together and you're not around? How do you think they look at you?
I like to be seen as if we move to the football metaphor, I prefer to be a trainer and not the team leader. So because at the end, those who handle the technology are your team. So you are you're the face at the end in front of the company, but the team has to be quite independent. And my personal behavior is generate a strategy plan, help them to deploy that strategy plan, and try not micromanage. That's for me, it's very important. So leave them the space to develop themselves, and that require proper profiles and proper follow-up with every team.
Okay, so Gert, let's talk a little bit more about yourself, and let's start with the beginning. If you would not have chosen for technology, what do you think you would be doing today?
Technology.
Not designing jewelry.
I cannot imagine a professional life without technology.
It's really your passion.
Yeah, I like it. I like it in my free time, and if I go backwards in my life, how I decided to spend my entire life in technology, it's interesting because I came from an age of technology which was still mainframes, where technology wasn't really interesting for the social and for the general opinion. But I don't know why I saw there a spark and say, that's interesting to spend your life in. So technology will change. Sooner or later will change.
You couldn't see a life without technology then.
Yeah, and I'm passionate about technology. I love it. But in the other hand, I understand technology by technology, it's a big mistake in our business. And you have to, how you can use the technology properly. So don't lose your mind just for technology, because the markets, it's crazy. So every year we have new technology. Every year we have offering from everywhere. And that offering reaches boards, reaches CEOs, and you have to make them understand, okay, don't leave your go behind that, because that's business at the end. On behalf of technology, there are big businesses.
What are your passions outside of work, outside of technology? What do you do to unwind?
Sailing.
Sailing?
I love sailing, yeah. And we are very lucky to live in a city with sail, which is crazy, and sailing. And biking also. When I cannot sail, I ride a bike. So that's my most passionate.
Gert, let's talk a little bit more about your personality, because I'm convinced that successful digital leaders and CIOs, they are wired in a special way. And you have shared with us your MBTI profile, your Myers-Briggs Type Indicator profile, and you are an ENTJ, also known as a commander. It's a very, very common profile, I would say. It comes back a lot for CIOs, and this is a personality type with extroverted, intuitive, thinking and judging traits, and these are decisive people who love momentum and accomplishment. They gather information to construct their creative visions, but rarely hesitate for long before acting upon them.
Wow.
It's a strong leadership profile. And typical strengths are for a commander that they're efficient, that they are energetic, that they are self-confident, strong-willed, that they are strategic thinkers, and that they are charismatic and inspiring. Which of these resonates best with you, and can you give an example how you live that?
That sounds amazing. Really like this. Because I love my job, so energy and passion drives a lot in my behavior. So that's my first. If I have to highlight one of those ones, try to convince and the influential that you need to do in the organization. It's another key topics.
Yeah.
You have to have patience. That's probably my weakness part.
Okay.
Because,
we'll come to that part in a moment.
Yeah. Sometimes we lose. I lose. I talk by myself that the organizations, people takes time to understand what you want to do, and that requires some patience.
Yep.
And you have to put your mind in their mind before moving faster than we usually probably will do it by ourselves.
But it's a nice profile for a CIO, because you need to be inspiring, you need to do strategic thinking. I mean, you need to be strong-willed to set out a strategy. But of course, there's a flip side to every coin, right? And so potential weaknesses for an ENTJ is that they can be stubborn and dominant. They can be intolerant, impatient. They can be arrogant. Sometimes they poorly handle emotions, and they can be cold and ruthless. So maybe you have a couple of these. Which one can you relate with, and how do you overcome that? How do you make sure that you're not that you don't have these weaknesses, let's say?
Yeah, I totally agree with what the profile mentioned. So, and I have past experiences when I make those mistakes. So you have to understand that you are not alone in your job. In fact, your job is help other jobs, so that's critical. How I can foresee that I do not make those mistakes is checking continuously with your peers. What's the feeling? What are they understanding? We properly handle all this change. So a continuous check is very important, because if you see someone has lost in your trail, you have to go back and bring him back into the path, because it's in there when you generate frustration, even some hating behaviors. So that's critical, because I totally agree with that, and I unfortunately make that mistakes, and I learn a lot. So my key message is check with your peers, talk with them, ask them how they feel, how they are, and if they are understanding what you're trying to do, with all of them, from the board to your peers in your team.
Yeah. We're arriving at my favorite question in this interview series, and that is about your lessons learned from failures that we have. I mean, you have built a huge success, but we all make our failures, and that's fine. We have to, because that's where the learning is. So can you give an example of one of your most brilliant failures and what you learned from it?
In fact, it's linked with what we mentioned before. So probably 10 years ago, I was in a very interesting project, and we totally lost the finance team. So I realized too late that they were away from where they has to be in that kind of project, because it's what related with money and money control, so payments, these kind of things. And I understand what happened here was why they are so aggressive. Why are they so complaining against these projects? And that was because of this. So they were swapped from the picture, and their feelings were these guys want to replace us. They are doing our job, and they are fearing us, and their reaction was really, really aggressive. And I learned a lot on that experience, really a lot. And I said at that time, it will never happen to me again. And I'm very careful with this every time I start a new project.
Yeah. If you look back on, you've been around in business and for quite some time. If you look back, what is maybe one of the best things that has ever happened to you in your life, your personal life, your professional life?
In my professional life, having the opportunity to expand in use technology. See, that's for a technology profile like me, you are continuously learning and continuously improving. And that's something you have to understand when you started at the very beginning. And then let me go back to my university time. I remember the first class in IT, and the guy who came there says, guys, everything you're going to learn in your career will not happen in your future. So this is not going to be useful for you. The technology will not be there 5 years ahead. So what you're learning here is just to learn continuously. So you have to understand that your job is learning and learning. And that is something I love from my job. So I continuously using new solutions, new options. So for me, that's really what I love of this job. And for my personal life, is my family, of course. So I have a lovely family, 2 lovely kids, and that's it's the best that happened in your life, as in a personal life. Yeah.
What are the core values that you live by? What are the values that you pass on to your children?
Honesty, sincerely, and kind. So try to be kind. So we are very fortunate society. I live in Spain, where I live and where my family live. We are very, we live like in a bubble. So we have money, we have security, we have healthy, we have enough food for us and for future generations. And we sometimes forget that no one. So there are a big part of the society, even in the world, that do not live like this. And that's important to try to explain them. You have to travel a lot and not going always to Disney World. There are other places you have to visit. I encourage people to visit those places where they live different than you. Yep. They are poorest, they have more insecurity, they have illness all everywhere, and you have to live that to understand more on the National Geographic film.
Yeah. If you look back in your career, who are the people that were very influential? Who were your mentors in your life, people that you look up to, that you learn from? Can you mention their?
Yeah. I've got 3. Sometimes that I got my question, I mentioned the same 3 mentors, and almost 20 years ago, I have the opportunity to meet one of my first mentors, and my 20 years behind him. And it was the president of the company I started working to in the telco sector. That's incredible guy. His vision, his passion, the way he encouraged the teams are absolutely incredible. I learned a lot with him. And I'm still in contact with him. He's retired right now. The second one is one of the biggest company I worked to is the president. Was an incredible guy, kind, proper, honest, accessible. So all of this is everything that looks like a problem, he can turn it in an opportunity. That's very difficult. If I have to highlight something from all of these references, is how they can turn problems into opportunities. It's so easy for them to say, "Oh, I don't care. Let's see how we handle this." And in very complex situations, M&A, spin-offs, difficulties in the P&L, so they never lose calm. They could handle those situations, try to use all the team the best way, and send the proper messages. And I have 3 of them, 3 different presidents. So they were presidents of the company I work for.
Okay, super. Now, these videos are watched not only by other CIOs, but also by young professionals that have the ambition to become a top technology leader. So what is the advice that you would give to these high performers that want to follow in your footsteps?
That's good question. So if I was younger and I hear someone like me years before, I may say, first of all, try to passionate your job. So this is a job that requires passion. So if you don't like it, if you don't love it, change job. So change your job and try to look for another profession like this. So this is a complex job. It requires manage frustration. It requires handling people who don't understand you. It means sometimes that you are outside of the game because all the rest of the company really do not follow you, and that require these skills that usually are not taught at the university. So that trying to be closer to those who has and learn from the experience that much as possible. So deploy your network, enjoy your job, passionate your job, and take the time to understand that this is a long-term job. You have to. You will never. It's very difficult to forecast more than 3 years ahead. So don't try to move and plan your future in long-term future. So look for small steps, define your path, look for what really loves you, what really motivates you, and go for it.
Okay. And on that note, I would like to thank you for your time and for your hospitality here. It was really a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.